Anyway, I want to welcome everyone to today's pre-training. This is the 3 stages to awakening your psychic third eye. Now, just in the comments, let me know, are you excited about this training? Are you excited about the upcoming 5-day challenge, which starts next week? And for those of you that are new here, that are joining or just catching the live broadcast on Facebook, we are we're going live on February 20th, same time next week, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to be covering just over those next 5 days, just ways that you could open up your third eye safely. We're going to learn about grounding, psychic protection, the 3 energies that are the 3 main energies blocking your third eye now. And then after learning all that, it's all about safely activating your psychic third eye. All right. And the goal is that by day 4 and 5, you're going to have that experience at least of what it's like to awaken your psychic third eye, to actually see energy. And then from there, this full disclosure, you guys, because everyone is asking, like, what are you doing this training for? Is it free? Well, yes, the 5-day training is free. And yes, full disclosure, at the end of the training on day 5, I will be offering a special offer to get into my 8-week training, which is where we get more in depth into awakening your psychic third eye even further. So if you're interested in learning things like how to read past lives, right? How to read future, how to read chakras, how to read your aura, right? All those are things that you could do with your psychic third eye. And that's what I'm going to be teaching in my 8-week training. All right. So if that interests you, let me know. Just type in past lives or type in chakras, right? Stuff that you might be interested in. Now, I know for a fact, many of you feel higher calling, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later today. You feel higher calling to do something with your gifts. All right. So let me know if that's you. Like, you want to help others with your gifts. You feel higher calling to heal others, right? Or maybe you don't even know why, right? You're getting these 333s or 777s, or you're hearing spirit guides, or your dreams are going crazy, right? You might not know why exactly, but you just feel pulled, like something drew you here. Maybe you saw my ad out of nowhere and you're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I've been looking for. Well, I believe that when synchronicities like this happen, and you could type in the word synchronicities, right? When synchronicities happen, right? And you think of someone, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, this is exactly what I needed. Well, for me, right, those are the things I follow. I'm like, okay, universe, what's up with that? I might not know what it means, but I feel really drawn. I feel really pulled to be here today. Okay. So let me know if that's you as well. You feel pulled, you feel drawn to be here. You might not know exactly why, but you're like, okay, let me go check this out. There has to be a greater reason. Okay. 1 second, you guys. Let me just post the link to this other page. Some people are trying to find the broadcast. Hold on. We're live here. Post. Okay. All right, you guys. So y'all ready to get started here? And I do see a couple people raise their hands in the Zoom link. What I'm going to do, you guys, is I'm going to answer all the questions. I'm going to do a Q&A at the end. And Jacqueline said, I could hear you real time, but there's a video delay on Facebook, like a Kung Fu movie. Yeah, my apologies for that. Like if you're on Zoom, I could see your comments in real time, but on Facebook, there's like a 12-second delay. So I might say something on Zoom, but on Facebook, you might hear me like 12, 20 seconds later. All right. Okay, I'm just trying to catch up on comments here, and then we'll get started here officially. Okay, a lot of you're saying so excited, so excited. Okay, a lot of you want to heal, teachers pulled, feel drawn. Okay, a lot of you are saying Facebook's good for me, loud and clear. Okay, awesome, you guys. Thank you for the feedback. Now, let's talk about real quick, especially if you're just meeting me for the first time. And just go ahead and type in the comments, hey, I'm meeting you for the first time and you don't know who I am, right? It's like, why should you listen to me? Well, I'm author of this book, The Journey of the Awakened Psychic, the 10-step guide to awakening your psychic third eye. And one of the reasons why I wrote this book is many of you are here, you're searching for answers, right? You're wondering, hey, what's up with, my third eye awakening, or I feel like I'm an empath, or I get these downloads out of nowhere, right? So if that's you, you are exactly the reason why I wrote this book. And for me, growing up, I was always really psychic as a child, right? And I was like, lights would turn off for me, street lights, or I get these messages, and I'm like, where did that come from? Right. And as a kid, it was normal, right? But growing up, it's like, not everyone's that way. So how many of you can relate to that, right? The other reason why I wrote my book is that I do know for a fact that if you're also like me, when I got older, right? Like even if I wanted to turn it off, I couldn't, right? The street lights would turn off even more. I get these 333s, 777s, and it just got to the point of almost being annoying. Like, why am I keep getting these signs? Or I know for many of you, it's like you get ringing in the ears. How many of you get ringing in the ears? Right? Or you're such an empath that you start to get all this energy, in your space all at once. The challenge with empaths is you're always absorbing energy. So go ahead and type in the word, I'm an empath or empath, right? If that's you. Now, I know for a fact also that many of you just want to take it to the next level, right? You're already open, you're already getting these signs, and you're like, what do I do about this? I don't know, right? Let me seek some guidance there. So anyway, that's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be covering the 3 stages to awakening your psychic third eye. Now, before I get into the 3 stages, I just want to tell you a real quick story. And I told this story in my book, and I was like, should I share the story in my book? But I just wanted to keep it real, right? And that's what I want to do for you guys, like just keep it real, right? So I want to say it was like 15 years ago now. It was a while ago. I had just gotten over a really bad breakup, right? And someone told me, like, oh, however long you're in a relationship is going to take you twice as long to get over the breakup, or get over the breakup, right? Or half as long, whatever the number was. But I was like, I don't want to be waiting that long. So I decided at that time, I said, I want to see a therapist to help me get over this breakup. And I remember wanting to find a spiritually based therapist, right? So I find a therapist, talking about sending a signal out to the universe. I went on Google. I was like, hey, here's a spiritual based therapist. And it was in my area. I was like, okay, I'm going to go see this therapist. Anyway, this therapist taught me how to meditate. And I was okay with meditating, but she really helped me take it to the next level as part of my healing. And go ahead and type in the comments, like you already meditate, right? I'd love to know that. Like, how many meditators do we have here? Anyway, she taught me a way to meditate in such a way where it's like one of those one with everything kind of meditations, right? And so, you just sit in silence, you just allow things to be, and next, you're just opening up to the universe. That's the best way I could explain it. It's like feeling like you're one with everything. No boundaries, no limitations. You really feel like you're just open to all, right? The thing is, though, when I started meditating that way, like I became really open, right? And like I mentioned to you moments ago, I was already open. I was pretty psychic as a child already, but that really opened me up. I'm like, oh my God, what in the heck is going on? I started seeing these colors. I started seeing these energies. It's like I could see energies and waves. And it's almost like having, like being like taking shrooms or something. So anyway, one day I was sitting in front of my therapist, right? And we're talking about fathers, like how fathers could impact your relationship and how it affects you as, being the person in the relationship. And next thing you know, like I saw my therapist, her mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear her say anything anymore. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on, right? I look up above her head, and next thing you know, I see this swirling light up above her head. And then as I saw that light, like I almost felt like I was frozen. And I was like, does she not know what's going on? She just kept on talking, blah, blah, blah. And she sounded like, you know, like the old Charlie Brown cartoons, right? Mwah, 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 right? 1 second, you guys. By the way, just another thing about these live broadcasts, my dog, sometimes she'll come in, she'll come out. So sometimes she's like, I got to get out of here. I have to let her out. Otherwise, she's just going to cry. And rest assured, she'll interrupt again and she'll try to come back in, but just FYI. Anyway, I saw the light up above her head and like I was in this semi-frozen state. And again, we're talking about fathers, and next thing you know, right, I got this message and I just heard, or it's kind of like a hearing, but it's also a combination, like it just came into my knowing. It was like one of those experiences where you just get an idea that comes off the top of your head, right? So there I was staring at the swirling light, and I interrupt my therapist, who was ma ma ma, right? I go, I don't know why I feel like I need to tell you this, but your father says that he loves you, right? And she looked at me like, okay. And then she just kept on talking, right? And there I was, still transfixed by the light, you know, out. It's kind of more at the corner of my eye because I was trying to look at her and see at the corner of my eye up to her, up above her head. And then, like, I just had this thing, like, I got to ask you, what was your relationship like with your father, right? And then she goes, well, this is one of the reasons why I became a therapist, because of my relationship with my father, right? And, you know, next thing you know, I just got yet another message. I go, well, your father really wants to just reassure you that he loves you. As soon as I delivered that message, the light disappeared. I could hear her more clearly again. And then I didn't feel frozen anymore, right? And then, you know, as soon as I loosened up again, like I saw this tear rolling down her eye, and it became this moment, right, between me and my therapist. And I was like, we're both like, what happened, right? And she tried to gather herself, try to get professional again. And then we just continued, right? After that, right, after the session, I went, you know, I had friends back then that were also psychics. I like, what was going on? What the heck was that? And one of my psychic friends, she goes, Joe, you delivered a message. I go, what? But what was that light? What was, you know, what happened? Why did I freeze? Why could I only barely hear him? Why did it show up above her head? So is that from that point forward, right? It was from that point forward that I was like, I'm on a quest. I got to figure this out. Like, what was that like? And furthermore, how do I control that? Right? Because I tried to recreate it on my own, but I couldn't like make it happen again. Right? So let me know if any of you could relate to that. It might not be as deep of an experience like I had, but you have had these psychic experiences, right? Or the unexplained, or, you know, things happen and you don't know why, right? So let me know if that's you, if you could relate to that. And let me just catch up on some comments here real quick. Amber says, that's amazing. Jacqueline, that idea is my whole day. As profoundly beautiful experience, but grounding, releasing is more of a challenge. Thank you, Joe, for the validation. All right, awesome. And I saw just seeing comments here about meditator. Okay. All right. So anyway, I shared that story because, and Jason's saying paranormal stuff all the time. I share this story because, you know, I noticed that when it comes to people's psychic awakening, that there are different stages. Okay, so before this experience with my therapist happened, like I was in one stage where, you know, yes, stuff was happening, but it I was kind of in the doubt of that about it all, right? Then it actually happened. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that? And then the next you know, it's like I got to figure this out. Okay. So we're gonna dive into this a little more deeper. And if you are just joining, hi, my name is Joe, and we're gonna be covering the 3 stages to your psychic, to awakening your psychic third eye. Now, let's get into the first stage. All right, I see some comments coming in real quick. Hold on. Yes, some Julia. Yes, some experiences like that. Stephanie, that's amazing. This never happened to me, but I get the feeling about people or hear what they think. Yes, that's yet another one. Natasha, a friend's boyfriend passed, and we were looking at pictures, and I felt he spoke to me, but I heard it in my heart, not my ears. Yeah. All right, great. Tabitha on Facebook. Yes, especially in the last few days. Okay. Heather, I feel meditation triggered my awakening after being at a loss for treating my lifelong general anxiety order. At the time, I was desperate to try something different, self-medicating or taking a pill. Yes. Meditation has changed my life. I'm so grateful it gave me a chance. Yeah. And that happens so many times, right? Especially where meditation just really relaxes the body. And then you start opening up to even more. Justin, I remember meditating and saw a big door open. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing, you guys. And keep the shares coming, right? And you know, when you share with others, it not only validates it for you, right? But it validates for everyone else that's here, right? That are also wondering, hey, is this real, or am I the only one? Well, you're definitely not the only one. Okay. All right, just looking at my bullet points real quick. And so let's get to the first stage of awakening your psychic third eye. All right, so stage number 1 is where you have experiences. Okay, so I already kind of hinted at this. You're having experiences like 333, 777, right? 1111, 1212, like those are the more common ones, or it could be 1 2 3 4. Right? And for some of you, you see them out in the physical realm, right? It could be on the clock. It could be like the receipt, you know, that you get from the store. For many of you, it's like seeing out of the corner of your eye, right? You might see an energy, then you look over there, you're like, oh, there's nothing there. But you could have sworn you saw something, right? Now, for others of you, you're having other psychic experiences, like very similar to what was shared earlier, like you heard it, but it felt like it came from your heart. Or maybe it was a download, right? How many of you get downloads? I know downloads are really common. You know, just reminds me of a student. She would stand in line at the grocery store, right? And the person standing in front of her, she'd start getting these downloads of information about the person standing in front of her. And she's like, oh my God, this is not the time. Right? So it's like she had this urge, I got to tell this person, but they're going to think I'm crazy. Right? But anyway, that's kind of jumping ahead. So let me just see. Jason's saying orbs. Jason, yes. Right. Natasha, that you have to tell people you're crazy, so you close yourself out and you doubt if it was true or real. So common. Download, says Jacqueline. I see numbers in the physical realm, but in meditation, they come to me and I'm writing them down. Awesome. All right. And then on Facebook, Justin, oh yeah, Justin says, I do. I don't hear anything. I see lights in my room at night. Okay, great. Okay, and Amber says sometimes with little messages attached that don't always make sense. Hey, Tiana. All right, so that's stage number 1. And the thing with stage number 1 is just you're getting these signs, right? These little things that happen, or you could even think of someone, the next thing you know, they text you, like that's another common one. And yet you're still passing it off as coincidence, right? Or you see the 333 and like, whatever, it's 333. Okay. But the thing is, though, it still made you a little bit suspicious at stage 1. right? So how many of you could relate to that, right? You're maybe in stage one, or maybe you're past stage one, but there's definitely where it catches your attention at least. All right. Now, let me tell you, for the rest of the general public, right? They're mainly at stage one. They're like, oh, this stuff is not real. It's just coincidence, whatever, right? And when you try to share it with your friends, they're like, it's just coincidence. Okay. So that's stage one. Now, let's move on to stage two. But let me see this, read some comments real quick. I painted like 4, 5, 6, 7 this month. I've never been able to draw an eye. Okay, awesome. Kent, I will think of something in my head, and my mom asked me if I need that exact same thing at times. Yes, that happens very often, Kent, especially with people that you're very close to. Julia, I see numbers. They speak to me, light spirits since I was little. The freezer parts happens when something bad is about to happen, the download too. Okay, awesome. Okay, now, so that was stage one. You get these signs, you pass it off as coincidence, right? You're a little suspicious, and most of the general public is at stage one or not even at stage one. Now, stage two, all right? Stage two is where these things are happening over and over and over again. So I told this other story in my book of like when I was growing up, streetlights always used to turn off for me. And it didn't matter if I was here in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is where I'm located, or when I was in the Navy. I was in the Navy for 11 years. I was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was stationed in Italy, right? And no matter where I went, street lights would turn off. And I'd ask my friends, I like, do those turn off for you? And they're like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, but they turn off for me all the time. Right. So at this stage, I was definitely questioning. I'm like, what is that? Right. And in the back of my mind, I was like, is that my grandmother? Right. And in my book, I told the story about how my grandmother passed away when I was a child. And um, ever since then, I always suspected, oh, maybe she's my guardian angel or something, or spirit guide, or guardian of some sort. But then I'd be like, nah, right? So stage two, right? You're still seeing these things, but now they're almost undeniable, and yet you're still doubtful. Okay, like, okay, is it real? But at this stage especially, this is where you are brave enough to say things like, hey, does that happen to you? Or you might go on YouTube, right? It's like, let me look up something about the third eye, or let me look up something about spirit guides. So at stage two, one of the defining characteristics about stage two is when you start researching. All right. So how many of you, let me know if you're at that research stage. You might not really be in-depth research, but it's enough to be like, oh, I saw this third eye YouTube video. Let me check it out. Right. So let me read some comments. Let me know if you could relate to being in stage two. All right. Jerry says, I see 111, 222, 444 a lot. Jason says, me too. Jason says, yes. Amber, oh my God, I got that same thing with my grandpa, guardian angel, or something like that. Then dismissing it. Yep, that's very characteristic, Amber, of stage two. Jerry says, yes. Amber, research stage, absolutely 100%. Laura, yes. Kent, yes. Stephanie, that's why I'm here doing my research to understand more. All right. And then on Facebook, definitely a researcher. I'm in stage two, says Jillian. Gary, been past that. Justin, stage two. 122 221. Okay, great. 1111 for every day for me, says Tiana. Let's see. Comments are coming in really quickly. My apologies if I don't read everyone's comment. Jacqueline states she has me starting school to earn my degree and certification in clinical hypnotherapy. Yes, at this stage, a lot of people become some kind of energy worker, right? Where they're like, hey, let me learn hypnosis or Reiki, right? Like you're opening up to this world of energy. Um, okay, Gary says, look, I get warned of things and I could ask questions. Okay, so characteristic again of stage 2 is you're definitely in the research stage. These things are happening over and over again. And now you're trying to figure out, you're questioning, hey, is this real? And just like me with my therapist, right? When that thing happened, I was like, I gotta figure this out. And for me at stage 2, I was almost obsessed, right? I started buying books. I said, back then we didn't have, it wasn't big on YouTube, right? But I'd get a bunch of books. I'd, go on websites, and it's like, it was hard to figure out what was real, who to trust, right? And let alone all these things about like, oh, the dangers of opening your third eye. And so it kind of scared me a little bit. But at the same time, I'm like, but I got to figure this out. Okay. So how many of you are there? Like, you got to figure this thing out. And there's like, oh my gosh, books and courses. LOL. Jason's yes. Um, Jacqueline, my classes start 2/22/22. LOL, a sign. Of course, it's a sign, right? Stephanie says yes. All right. So that's stage 2, right? So stage 1, things are happening, but you're passing it off as coincidence. Stage 2, they're happening more often than not, right? And now you got to figure it out. You're in that place of researching. Now, stage 3. What is stage 3 all about? Well, by the way, is all this stuff making sense? Like, is this all, just give me some feedback. Is it making sense? Like, are you following okay? Amber says 100% makes sense. Okay, great. Julia, I pushed to ignore this for a long time, but after ayahuasca last May, all my channels open like crazy. It's so common. And I'm actually going to touch on that a little bit. 1 second, you guys. Inside. Let the dog in, of course. All right. Now, stage, and people are saying yes, makes total sense. Okay. Yeah, she's back. She comes in and out, and now she's just sitting on the little dog bed next to me. Now, stage 3, and I'm glad you guys are cool with this. with my dog Layla, that's her name. All right, now stage 3. What's stage 3 all about? Well, on stage 3, this is where, after all, you're starting to research, right? And you're starting to see these things online, and you're like, okay, that makes sense for me. That doesn't make sense for me. Oh, I could totally resonate with all that. And you decide at this stage that this is undeniable, right? This stuff is real. I don't care, maybe my best friend doesn't understand it, but there's definitely something more to this. Okay. So similar to when I saw, got the download from my therapist, and she started crying, and I was able to deliver that message from her dad. I was like, this is undeniable. There has to be something more, right? And you decide at the stage, this is no longer coincidental, right? And here you go beyond just like wanting to research a little bit to where you're like, I'm actually going to sign up for some program, get some coaching, or you might decide, let me go find a psychic, right? Let me book an appointment with a psychic and get a reading. Or in my experience, I found a meetup back in the day. This is when I used to live in San Diego. I found a meetup, right? And it was like this clairvoyant meetup. And, what that guy taught was, it was really all about clairvoyance, opening up your psychic third eye, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to check it out, right? I was scared because I didn't want to put myself out there. And this is yet another defining characteristic of stage 3 is you don't want people thinking you're crazy, right? So how many of you can relate to that? Like I'm going to pursue this, but I don't necessarily want to tell my friends. I'm going to go to that meetup on my own, check it out, see if it's right for me, see if this is real. The thing with stage 3 is where you decide, I need to do something about this. Because if I don't figure this out, it's going to drive me crazy. Okay. So let me know if you could relate to that. And Daphne says, I'm in stage 3, but still skeptical of others trying to help me. Totally get that, right? And yeah, when I was checking out that meetup, I had to look at all the reviews, the comments in the group. I didn't even go to that meetup for, I don't know, it took me weeks, even months maybe, before I finally got brave. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'll check it out, whatever, you know. If I don't like it, I'll leave in the first 5 minutes. But I'll tell you guys, when I finally got in there, right? There were some of the other more experienced clairvoyant students in there, and they're like, hey, we'll give you a reading. And when I got that reading, right, I swear, it's like, how could y'all have known that about me? There's no way. So it provided even more validation. I'm like, okay, I guess this stuff is real. Let me figure out even more, and let me try to learn even more. Right. So then I just kept going to the meetup, and I wanted to figure it out. And for the longest time, they're like, Joe, are you ready to read now? And I'm like, no, I'll just stay off to the side a little bit, because I didn't have any confidence, right? So how many of you, like, you're already like getting stuff, but you don't feel confident yet? So let me catch up on some comments here. Tabitha says yes. Gary says, I want to know when to use it. Yep, definitely stage 3 for sure. Amber says, love that kind of stuff, readings. Natasha says yes. Julia said yes, that's where you came in the picture, of course. I was like, thank you, universe. Kent says yes. Stephanie, yeah, I don't want to tell people I was a little embarrassed, LOL. Yep. Jacqueline, stage 3. Amber says yes, don't want to sound crazy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so a lot of people are like, I'm raising my hand. Yeah, so you could relate. Now, okay, Julie said, I started giving the messages to people they were driving. They were driving nuts. Okay. Jacqueline says, my confidence is much more prevalent over the past few months. Awesome. Okay. Gary says, trees and the grass will move aside. The letters, words come through. Doesn't this, so does this supposed to happen? You know, everyone has different experiences, right? For me, I don't discount people's experiences. If it's real for you, it's real for you. Okay. So, you know, I've had people tell me about their visions that they get, the dreams that they're having, right? Who am I to say that it's not real for you? Okay. And, you know, that's kind of my attitude now, right? When people are like, hey, Joe, what do you do? I'm like, well, I'm a psychic. I teach people how to awaken their psychic abilities, right? And I'll still get the naysayers, and I'll still get, you know, the people that will question me. And just so you know, guys, like I'm public, right? Like my book is in the hands of like 20,000 people now by now. And like I have 5,000 people in my Facebook group, and I get my fair share of haters, doubters. You know, I got this message from one guy that told me like, "Oh, you're a fake, you're a phony," or this one guy's like, "Your psychic abilities ain't SHI." You know, it's like whatever. You know, you just kind of have to go with it, right? That for as many people out there who are ready, right? You're at stage 3. There are even more people out there that will doubt, that'll hate, that'll try to throw their energy at you, and you kind of just have to take it all with a grain of salt. Okay. Now, Carolina asks, do you absorb things from other people? Does your energy get drained? Well, guess what? What I teach on day 3 of the challenge, I teach you about psychic protection. So yeah, there are times where, especially when the energy is really heavy in some broadcasts, or I'll do some readings. Yeah, right. Sometimes the energy is really heavy, but when you have a good sense of psychic protection, psychic boundaries, then you don't get affected as much. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, let me get back to my bullet points. We're almost done, you guys, here, and then I'm going to get to a Q&A for you guys. So you guys could ask me, I'll have like an AMA, ask me anything about your gifts session here. Now, going back to the stages, right? So stage one, everything's just coincidental, right? 333, yeah, it's just coincidence. Stage two is where it happens. You decide to research at least. And then stage three is where you decide, I got to actually do something about this now. Either pursue, waking up my gifts, some kind of training, or maybe get a reading, right? Or go to some meetup. Or even for many of you, it could be like, let me go to Joe's broadcast. Okay. Now, I saw a couple comments come in earlier. It's like, well, I'm already past stage one. I'm past stage two. Oh, yeah, definitely stage three. I know for many of you, you skipped stage one, right? How many of you were like, when you were young, you were like that psychic child, right? And I find in today's day and age, there's more and more children who are waking up, right? Back in the day, we call them like indigo children or rainbow children, right? Nowadays, there's, to me, it's just more prevalent and more people are willing to talk about it more. Also, if you're a sign of you like skipping over stage one, like you're already very open. I know for many people, you've experimented with drugs, right? Or like you had a near-death experience. How many of you have experienced that or know somebody you've had out-of-body experiences? I know for me, I was in a mild car accident. I got whiplash, right? But that accident was enough to like, whoa, I just got really open and jolted me and like my channels were open, right? Other, students that I've come across, it could be just medication. They're on heavy medication, right? And that opened up their channels, okay? And I see some comments coming in. Drugs for sure. Yes, I've had near-death experience. Someone's like waving their hand. Brandon, yep, been through drugs, been through hell and back. It's been very common. And a lot of students who come my way, it's less about you wanting to open up your gifts. It's more like, man, I'm already open. How can I shut this down? Because I'm getting overwhelmed and getting too many messages, getting too many downloads. Let me know if you could relate to that, like your channels are already open, okay? And I'll get to the Q&A here, you guys, here in a moment. So for anyone asking questions, I'll definitely get to those. So Ember says, mine was a scary experience that opened me up and brought me here. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, when I had that thing with my therapist, that scared me. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't like feeling frozen or like I wasn't in control of it. I didn't like all that. Okay. Now, I want to share with you one more stage. Okay, this is kind of like a bonus stage. So there are the 3 stages to awakening your third eye, right? Now, I do find there's one extra stage, and that is when you feel like there has to be something more to your gifts, right? And you are probably in this bonus stage if you already feel like, I want to do something with my gifts, or you naturally love helping people, or maybe you're already like the great advice giver, right? You're the type of person, someone comes to you, asks you a question, and you give like the right answer, and you're like, I don't know where that answer came from, but hey, here's some guidance for you. Or maybe you're already a natural healer, right? You want to help people. And someone mentioned hypnotherapy. How many of you are already in Reiki? For me, I was, before this time, I was studying like life coaching back in the day. I just felt drawn. I just want to help people. I don't know why, but that's just what I want to do. I feel drawn to that. So let me know if that's you, right? You feel naturally drawn, like I got to do something with these gifts, or I just naturally love helping people. Okay. Stephanie, yes, people come to me all the time and just give great advice. I like to help people. Julia, Reiki master, certified yoga. I get a lot of yoga people as well. Um, awesome. Jacqueline said, that's me. Makes me emotional when I think about it. I just want to shine my light. Yes. Amber says, yes to all this. Hey, hey, wow. Okay, yes. A lot of yeses. Awesome. Okay, Natasha also, Jackie agreed. I'm almost in tears right now. Okay. Tiana, yes, I feel I have to help and heal others, but not exactly sure how. And thanks for sharing that, because that's yet another characteristic of this particular stage. I want to help, but I just don't know how. Okay. Let me read a couple more comments. Gary says, people are drawn to me. They tell me things, I listen to them, and then they go on their way. Yeah. Yeah. I had this one student, it was so funny. She was walking like in downtown or something. She was at a crosswalk. This stranger, some woman, and she might have been high, who knows, right? But that's beside the point. That woman came up to my student and she said to my student, she goes, you are a chosen one. You're already connected to spirit. Listen to her, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, right? But it was less about what she said. It was more that my student, right? She goes, I don't know why she came up to me, but everything that she said was so true. It was like she was looking at me and saw into my soul. I'm like, yeah, because that's who you are, right? So maybe that could be you too. Okay. People just come up to you and you don't know why, but they want to tell you your story. It could be like someone at you're standing in line behind the grocery store. They turn around. It's like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm having a real bad day. I just needed to talk to someone, and you look like someone that would be willing to listen. Okay. So those are all yet another sign of being in this bonus stage. Like people could feel like you are that person. All right. So anyway, one more thing about Amber said, yes, OMG, I get that all the time while shopping, LOL. All right, so one more thing about this bonus stage. You're opening up, you're feeling bombarded with energy. So how many people can relate to that? You're overwhelmed, right? You're overwhelmed with energy. How many of you can relate to that? Right? You're opening up, your channels are opening up. And if you're like me during that stage, right? Like I got to figure this out. But I was opening up. I was like, I got to do something with my gifts. Like I really feel like I want to help people. But the more you try opening up, the more it's like, I'm getting overwhelmed with all this energy. Okay. Um, so Brandon says, I feel like positive energy is flowing through me. Awesome. Um, Tabitha says yes. Amber says, especially lately. Okay, all the time. Okay, great. Now, those are the three stages. Okay, so you're opening up, or things are just coincidental. You're researching. Now you're deciding to do more about it. For you on the bonus stage, you feel like I got to do something with these gifts, right? I feel I'm naturally helping, but I get overwhelmed, right? Or I just don't know how to yet. Well, if this is you, right, let me remind you that upcoming, okay, this is what the 5-day challenge is all about, right? The 5-day Unblock Your Psychic Third Eye 5-day challenge. And just as a reminder, it's coming up on February 20th. And we're going, the launch on that launch day, it's going to be the exact same day as what time we came in today, right? So it'll be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Monday through Friday, or sorry, Monday through Thursday will be going on at night. So after everyone comes home from work, it'll be 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right. And we're gonna go through everything from grounding, right? How to relax your body so that you can activate your third eye, to looking at the 3 blocks, right? 3 energies that are blocking your third eye now, blocking you from accessing your gifts, to psychic protection, right? So you get a good sense of psychic boundaries, to then when you go through all that, right, that's just the first 3 days. By day 4 and 5, you actually get to experience, okay, I'm ready now to really awaken and activate that third eye. All right, so for any of you, that sounds really cool, right? Yeah, just going through that process step by step. Right now, this is especially for you because a lot of people are wondering, how do I know this is for me? How do I know if I could be successful at this? Well, especially if you're already a naturally visual person, like this will be great for you, like you already have a great imagination. Now, even if you don't have a great imagination, you might also be someone like you get a lot of dreams, or you might be that person like, I saw that out of the corner of my eye. You look over there and you're like, oh, but I don't see it anymore. But you swear like you saw something, right? So you might be getting glimpses of spirit, or you saw your grandmother one day when you were a kid, or who had already died, or stuff like that, right? Now, even if you're not visually inclined, even if you just simply have a desire, right? Like I'm curious about the third eye. I want to see what that's all about, right? I could feel energy, but sometimes I get stuck in like the feeling of energy. And I talked more about that in pre-training number 1, by the way. So if you haven't watched pre-training 1, definitely check your email. It's also on my YouTube, or you could go back in Facebook, in the Facebook group. It's all there. You can watch the replay. So yeah, you just want to get beyond where you could feel energy, right? And you know how they say seeing is believing, right? So when you could train that psychic third eye to actually see energy as well, that just helps you with that next level of validation with your gifts. Okay. So I see a bunch of people saying feeler, sounds awesome. Okay. Amber says, bless you, Joe, for doing this, for all of this. All right. Well, thank you for that. Yes to the 5-day challenge. Okay. Awesome, you guys. Now, if you haven't already signed up and you're just watching me for the first time, here's the sign up link. So I'm just going to put this in the Facebook group. For everyone in the Zoom, I'm assuming you're already signed up. Let me go ahead and pin this comment. Okay. And like I said, we go live on February 20th, same time, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Now, that's all the content I have today. Let me know if you enjoyed this, right? If you got a lot out of even just the pre-training, and if you did, imagine what we're going to cover on the 5-day challenge. Now, what I want to cover now is I just want to take about 10, 15 minutes just to answer any questions that you might have. So I'm not in my reading space, right? So I'm not going to give a reading, but what I can do is I can answer questions. Anything you wanted to know about, like your psychic awakening, or I got this experience, like what was that all about, or literally anything at all. So, and just so you know, the questions come in really quickly, so I'll try my best to get through everything. And if I don't, or if you're watching the recording, I'll be sure to try to answer your questions after. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let me get to the first question here. 1 second. Let me switch windows around here so I could see all the questions. All right. Okay. So yeah, if you guys have questions, feel free to type those in now. Okay, Stephanie asks, I'm ready. How can I relax? I have the weight on my shoulders and I'm always so tense. Yes, I also get glimpses. I get a little afraid. That's a great question. Like, how do I relax, right? I'm going to teach you like a grounding technique on day 1 of the challenge. But what I advise students to do, and this is literally anyone, before doing any kind of energy work, just take a moment to breathe, right? So everyone just take a nice deep breath right now. And one of those deep belly breaths, right? Where you really just breathe way deep down into your belly. And then exhale. Just a nice relaxed exhale. Okay. And when you exhale, that's your body's natural mechanism to release, let go, relax. And imagine just taking 10 of those in a row where you're just relaxing even more, breathe even more deeply. So by the time you get to breath number 10 or even breath number 20, like take as long as you need to the point to where your body's just like, okay, you released and let go of all the tension in your body. All right. So what I find with a lot of society really is that no one's breathing. It's like, imagine if everyone just took a nice deep breath as a society, how would society be? Right. So anyway, Stephanie, that's like the first key is to just learn how to breathe. And then all these other techniques, whether you learn from me, some other teacher, right? Breathing. You got to breathe to start. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to switch back and forth between Facebook and Zoom. Tiana, lately I've been seeing and sensing different things. That's I think you're saying something to me. What could be happening? Okay. Yeah, Tiana. So a lot of times when you, especially like if you're stage 2 and 3, right? This is exactly what I was talking about stage 2. Things are happening, right? And you can't deny it. It's not like you could even control it, right? Like say when the 333 happens, right? You see 333 out and you just see it out of nowhere. It's not like you were trying to make it happen. Okay. So what you're going through, Tiana, is actually you're going through either that stage 1, stage 2, especially, right? Where you're doing exactly what I mentioned in stage 2, right? You're questioning like, is this real? I got to do something about it. I got to figure it out. Okay. And even if you're not meditating, I've had other students like they just get ringing in the ears, right? And that ringing in the ears, you guys, that's like spirit trying to get your attention. And the thing with spirit is they vibrate a lot more quickly than we do in the physical plane. So when they do try to communicate with you, right, it comes across as a high pitched ringing. Okay. All right. So let me switch back and forth here, like I said. Okay, this is another great question. Kent is asking, feeling great pressure in my third eye. Yeah, that's very common. How many of you also get that? You feel pressure or you feel like a tingling in your third eye? What's happening there is there's energy now moving through your third eye, right? So that's saying where your attention goes, energy flows. So when you start working on that third eye, especially, that because you're bringing attention to it, right? The energy is flowing through there. That's a sign that your third eye is actually waking up. Okay, it's activating. And one of the reasons why it's, one is that there's a lot of energy moving through, but two, there could actually be a lot of energy blocks in your third eye. So when you start releasing that energy, then yes, you could start to feel the pressure in your third eye a lot. Okay. And especially when students are in the beginning, right, of like, especially day 1, 2, and 3 of the challenge, you're going to see that comment a lot, like, oh, I feel it in my third eye. It's really activating. I really feel something. So that's actually a good sign. All right. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt. Nothing's wrong. It's just treat it more like it's a sign, like things are waking up for you. Okay. All right. So great question, Kent. Tabitha, my sleep is off recently. Is this normal? I'm an awesome sleeper. Yeah, other than, I probably need more information, Tabitha, but a lot of times when you're not sleeping, right, it could be that you're just processing a lot of energy or stuff that you haven't yet processed from your day, and it's just keeping you up, right? So he's like, oh, I got to figure this out. I need to know. And I wouldn't be surprised if then, right, when you do get some sleep, right, then you start dreaming. Okay. Part of dreaming is all about going up into the astral plane. And when you go up into the astral, right, that's where you as a soul, you go up into the astral plane and you work things out, right? So if you're, say, dreaming of a new relationship or a new job or whatnot, right, but you're not in that job yet. What you end up doing is you go up to the astral plane, you work it out, it's almost like dress rehearsal in a way. And then you get the information you need from the astral, you bring it back down into the body, you bring it down into the physical plane. And, you could experience it up there before you decide if you really want to do something about it here in our physical world. All right. So let's see. Tiana, thank you so much. I get it now. Okay, awesome. All right, going back to Zoom here. Stephanie, how do I slow my mind to meditate? Yeah, so part of that is where, when the mind is racing, the body's tense, like all that is related. So what I mentioned earlier about breathing, right? Just breathe. I'm telling you guys, like people think there has to be more, right? But breathe, right? So Kent said Tai Chi, right? Well, guess what? There's a lot of breathing in that too. Okay. And then a lot of the stuff I'm going to be teaching you around grounding, right? It takes practice, you guys. It's not like this is stuff that could happen overnight. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Jerry. I was 15, had a friend who died. Same night he died, I saw a big glowing image of his face on my wall. What exactly was that? Yeah, Jerry, I had a very similar experience that I talk about in my book when I was a preteen, and same thing. The very same night that my grandmother died, I was, just sleeping. I woke up in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m. Look up at the ceiling. I saw a glow of light. Glow of light went away, and then I was just left with this message like, your grandmother just passed away. Right. And this was, this is way back when, before like Facebook and all that, right? And my grandmother was all the way in the Philippines, right? Literally on the other side of the world. So I was like, oh my gosh, how could I have known that? Okay. So yeah, it happens more often than not, right? And your question is, what exactly was that? Well, that's all part of having that psychic experience, right? It's like when you think of someone, then they text you. How does that happen? I don't know how it happens, right? But it's just one of those things that when you're open, when your gifts are opening up, when it happens to me, it happens to you, and literally thousands, millions of other people, right? They think of someone, next, they text. There has to be something more to all that, right? Right. So I don't tend to question it anymore. I'm like, okay, it's that thing. It's just that thing, right? You just learn to accept it, right? But like I mentioned in this broadcast today, when you're at that stage 2, 1 and 2, right, that's where you're really questioning if it's even real or what was that? Oh my gosh, right? So just know that that's all part of the stage 2 part, or stage 2 of the awakening. Okay, Stephanie's asking, will waking the third eye cause headaches out of nowhere? And yes, totally. Okay. And especially, part of the thing with headaches, I remember when I was in my awakening journey, I used to feel pressure like on the side of my head, or was it here? I forgot. And I asked my teacher, I'm like, what is that? And my teacher was like, oh, you have a barnacle on the side of your head. And I'm like, what? And then she just walked away, right? Um, I don't want to just leave you with that kind of answer. What's really going on is you could possibly have some stuck energy there. And then when you go through these tools that I'm about to teach you, and you're starting to release that stuck energy, then often how that comes across, it can come across as a headache or pressure or tingling or whatever, right? So the headache piece of it all is not necessarily a bad thing. When you can just start to recognize like, oh yeah, it's energy releasing, right? Then that's actually a good sign, okay? Okay, you guys. Yeah, we'll go for about 10 more minutes. Let me see what other questions I can answer here. We've just in the last 5 minutes, like 25 new messages came in. So let me try to catch up here. Tabitha, what's with the runny noses? Sorry about that. Yeah, it's like pollen season, and California is just warmer than usual now. So Yeah. Let's see. Okay, Jacqueline's saying, I've seen what I believe to be spirit guides, sometimes mine, sometimes my husband's, sometimes as an outline. Yes, that's very common. You'll see like an outline or silhouette. For instance, my husband sometimes has three massive energetic outlines, like when it's hot outside and you see the humidity. Yeah, kind of like when you look at the mirage, right? Like that. And I know they're just Vikings. And I know in all caps, they're Vikings. Another way they show up is as an image or more a feeling that I describe as what I would feel, literally feel, as if it was like Vikings. What are these type of visuals? Do different guides travel differently? Um, okay. Okay. So the thing with spirit guides, and this is something I teach in my more advanced training, when it comes to working with spirit guides, right? Just realize that some spirit guides are really good at communicating with pictures. Some spirit guides are really good with tapping into your knowing. And then some spirit guides, you might actually hear them. Okay. Now, some of more capable beings, you might hear all three, or you might get all three. It might come in through your knowing, your seeing, and your knowing, seeing, and hearing. You might hear them, right? Now, some beings just are not as capable, right? Maybe you might see them, but you can't hear them. And that's less about your abilities. It might just be more about the ability of that particular being to be able to communicate. Okay. So just know, and who asked the question? Jacqueline. So just know that it goes both ways. You might have that ability to know, see, hear, but then the beings that you're communicating with, they also might have that ability to communicate via knowing, seeing, and speaking, or telepathy, right? Clairaudience, like all of that. Okay. So yeah, it just depends on the being. Um, Remember, I just did a breathing exercise in class this morning. So cool. You keep talking about it now. Synchronicity, of course, right? Um, okay. All right. See, y'all are commenting back and forth with each other. That's awesome. And that's what I love to build, you guys. I love to build like the whole community aspect of it all. So I'm glad that y'all are getting along here. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. Let me just hold out for any last minute questions or comments here. Kathy said, good point. I see orbs flash and then it goes away. Okay. Okay, Jason, I have talking to my left ear sometimes, but I have hearing problems in that ear and sometimes I don't understand what is said. Yeah. So here's something I also teach in my more advanced training. Just this concept of having a spirit body. There's your physical body, right? Where you could hear with your physical ears, you could see with your physical eyes, you could smell with your physical nose, right? You could touch, feel with your physical sense of touch and feeling. Now, I believe that we also have a spirit body, right? And your spirit body is just aligned with your physical body. And when you're seeing energies or spirit guides or whatnot, you're actually seeing with your spiritual eyes, okay? Or you're hearing with your spiritual ears, or you're tapping into your higher knowing via your crown chakra, right? With your higher knowingness. All right. By the way, your third eye is like a sixth chakra thing. And I'm going to teach you about chakras in the 8-week training program. So yeah, Jason, to your point, with your physical ears, you might not be able to hear very well, right? But perhaps with your spiritual ears, that's where you're hearing the messages. Okay. So very common. I've had some hearing impaired people, they're hearing the messages, or maybe it's like a combination of hearing and knowing, right? But that they're getting messages regardless of their physical abilities. Okay. All right. Um, okay. So hopefully that makes sense, Jason. Amber says it's a great answer. All right, some more about sleep here. Stephanie, thank you for the information and helping me understand more. Okay. And stay tuned, you guys, because there's even more. Imagine this is just pre-training. Okay. So let me answer one or two more questions. And before I answer that question, let me just remind everyone, and thank you all for sticking around. It's awesome. So just a reminder, right? February 20th, definitely mark your calendars. We're going to be launching a 5-day challenge. That's going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, right? And then each night, Monday through Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, you can attend via Facebook Live or Zoom. And if in case you can't make any of those broadcasts, yes, I will post a replay, post them either to YouTube or you'll get the instant replay in the Facebook group. Okay. All right, so let me answer one more question here. Justin's asking, why would my vision go clear and then fade to black in the ambient light before bed? So yeah, Justin, that's often my experience as well. When I'm reading clairvoyantly, I often might only get a flash of the picture. Literally, it might only be a split second, right? But when I get that picture, that's enough. Like that's enough to give me the information I'm looking for. It's enough to give me like a meaning of the sign or symbol, right? So that's often how spirit works, right? They'll just show you a flash and that's it. That's all you get, right? So in those moments, that's where you really have to pay attention, okay? And then last but not least, I see much love to you all. Can't wait to work with you guys. Can't wait to learn, experience with you all as well. Okay, so last question from Kathy. How do I clear the blocks out of my ears? So yeah, I'm going to be teaching you, right, these tools. Okay, that's what the 5-day challenge is all about, right? I'm going to teach you these tools. Kathy, you've already learned some of it, right, with the grounding technique, and I'm going to teach you guys even more. Okay, so I'm going to hold off on answering the question. Definitely stay tuned for the 5-day challenge. Okay. Now, before we go, we have one more pre-training coming up on Thursday. And on Thursday, what am I talking about on Thursday? All right, well, just stay tuned for Thursday. I'm going to talk about, the 3 keys to awakening your psychic third eye. Okay. So definitely stay tuned for that. We're going to go live 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. All right, you guys, that's all I have for today. I have my next appointment coming up. Super Bowl today, right? So be safe out there, party, have fun, but do definitely stay safe. Otherwise, I will see y'all next Thursday. Okay. Great having you here. Thanks again. Loved all you guys' energy. Love the community. Can't wait to see you on Thursday. And then can't wait to see you when we do launch on Saturday. All right. Bye for now, you guys.